Hello! I've made it to 5 years in business. I just want to thank every single one of you who are a part of the A.D.S world. On YouTube, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you are, TikTok even. I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you. If you can, pause right now and tell me in the comments how long you've been following A.D.S. I would love to know. That's like the one thing I want for this 5-year anniversary. So today I'm here to bring you my 5 lessons learned from 5 years in business as an entrepreneur. And it's so hard to pick 5, but I try to keep it brief for you. So I will only share 5. If you're new here, I'm Andrea with the A.D.S agency, here to bring you the very best in marketing and branding tips, as well as business tips for those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and personal branders. Welcome and thanks so much for being here. And yes, this is 5 years of A.D.S. Amazing, amazing. Okay, can I just for a moment, just pause and tell you how amazing, awesome this year has been. So first of all, personally, because first of all, I just turned 40. Yes, I know you can hardly believe it, but I did. Amazing. Yeah, amazing. This is my 40th year. This is 40, as they say. Instagram, hashtag this is 40. And also, I just got married this month. He put a ring on it, honeys. Okay, and so big things happening this year personally for me. And my business was called A.D.S because A.D.S was my initials originally, and that is a wonderful double entendre for ads, like advertising, and my business is in marketing and branding, so it was so genius. Now my initials are A.D.J, but I'm keeping A.D.S because it just sounds better and it works better, so there you go. All right, so we're gonna get into these 5 tips, 5 things I've learned. If you're an entrepreneur, shout out below or wherever you're listening to this on podcast, wherever you're listening, YouTube, drop a little comment somewhere about lessons you've learned, but I'm gonna share 5 lessons learned plus a bonus at the end that you don't wanna miss. All right, so let's go. Okay, so lesson number 1, scaling is hard AF. And you know what AF means. Scaling is hard AF. It's hard because there are no rule books for this. There are no lessons. There is no true guidance on at what revenue level is it appropriate to bring employees on, at what revenue level can you start scaling. I mean, and then particularly in my business in marketing and branding, it's very difficult to figure out how to scale and then also how to pay people really well. Because one thing I never wanted to become was one of those kind of sweatshops, as you hear and as you know, for those of us in this industry, is the typical, you pay a bunch of young college students, young marketing execs, they want to be execs and they end up getting paid peanuts for outstanding work. And I never wanted to run my business like that. I never wanted to have a business like that. And I don't. So far, I've just been truly doing partnerships. Like my dad has said, I've partnered with people. I've 1099 people here and there, just trying to make it work. But to scale is so hard. I got to talk to my girl, Alicia Butler-Pierre, who is the scaling queen. I interviewed her months and months ago, a couple years back now, maybe 2 years. The pandemic kind of erases some years, right? But I will link a link to her chat with she and I way back, Alicia Butler-Pierre. She's awesome. She is a scaling queen. So I highly recommend that you listen to that, watch that. That's a really awesome episode. I'm going to go back. I always get more nuggets the more times I listen to these interviews. So that's amazing. But scaling is hard AF. I still haven't mastered it. I'm still trying to figure it out, and that's okay. That's okay. That should be another lesson, is that you don't have to move at the speed that you think you should move at the pace that other people seem to be moving, who are also entrepreneurs. Run your race, babies. This is your race. You run it at your pace, and that is very, very important. That's a bonus. All right, so that's lesson number 1. Scaling is hard AF. True. Lesson number 2, you've got to consider what truly makes you happy. Because one thing I've learned over these 5 years is just because you are good at something, just because you excel at something, just because you do something better than other people, doesn't mean it makes you happy. It doesn't mean that it's something that you should do all the time. And so you got to really think, what is it that makes me happy? What are the things that I am actually passionate about, that turns me on in the morning, that makes me excited to do some work for the day? Because after a while, just because you're good at it, that doesn't necessarily mean you love it. If you just keep doing those things, after a while, you're going to really have what many entrepreneurs experience, which is burnout. We're going to get to that lesson as well. But you will experience burnout because you are just constantly doing the things that you don't want to do. And I don't know about you, but how many of you exited corporate world so that you could do the things that you wanted to do with your life? And those of you who are in still corporate world, I bet you think to yourself all the time, if I could only be out, I used to think this to myself all the time, especially my very, very last job, official last job. If I could just only get out of this office, I used to just like, if I had a window, I would have been dreamily staring out of it. Like, what if I could just get out of here? All the things I could be doing with myself right now, like for me. You know, and you can have that same feeling in entrepreneurship world. You can feel stuck in the own world that you created for yourself. So true. It is the truth. So, you know, that's why I say, like, it's so critical to reconnect with the things that truly make you happy, the things that truly excite you, that you're passionate about, that you love helping others with. Because if you don't have it, you're going to get burnt out real fast, and that's no good for anybody, especially you. And this is about you and your legacy and your life and the life you want to build. So what makes you happy? So critical. Let's pay attention to that. That's lesson number 2. I want to add on to that lesson number 2, this quote that I love from Pablo Picasso. And it has stuck with me forever. And if you've not heard it, I want it to stick with you. And if it's not stuck with you yet, you have heard it. Commit this one to your heart, not just your mind, not just your memory, your heart. The meaning of life is to find your gifts. The purpose of life is to give it away. The meaning of life is to find your gifts. The purpose of life is to give them away. So I say that to say, in addition to that lesson of number 2 of finding out what makes you happy, what your purpose is, and that's tied into your gifts, what your strengths are, and all of this. In the mix of all of that, true fulfillment comes from finding those gifts that only you have, and being able to share that in a world, share that with the world lucratively. All right, that's the key to business. Is we're making money sharing our gifts, which is the best thing ever. It's the best of both worlds. It's Zig Ziglar said we can have anything in life that we want if we'll only just help enough other people get what they want. To me, that is the beautiful premise of business. I don't want to be in the business of widget making. I could totally do that. I know a lot of people who do it really great at widget making, and that can apply to service too. You know, insert an able body, a warm body into this job. Can anybody do that? Yes. Is it very lucrative? Yes. But does it fulfill you at the end of the day? Do you want to wake up and do that for someone every day? Maybe if it affords the lifestyle that you want, and you know, the yacht life makes you happy, but if the grind of all of it doesn't make you happy, is it worth it? Lesson number 3, breathing space is so important. Breathing space is so important. I cannot overstate to you. If you're looking at this and you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you're a newbie entrepreneur, please know that it's so important for you and your mental health to be together. Because I'm going to tell you something, honey. If you aren't in a great space, how on earth are you going to help someone else today? How on earth are you going to do that? It's truthfully, can you do it? It's possible. You've done it before. I mean, you've done it in corporate world a million times. But is that really the place we want to operate out of? Nah, because we're really not helping anyone when we're not operating out of a place of good mental health. If we're not okay on the inside, if we feel overburnt, overspent, overdone, we're crazy, our world is hectic, nothing's in order, our house is a mess, we're gaining weight, we're losing weight, we're getting sick, it will affect everything. And so you need that breathing mental space. When you feel yourself get to that space where you feel like life is crazy, you gotta stop, pause. This is the beauty of entrepreneurship. Clear your schedule. 9 times out of 10, you probably can't, even if you feel that you can't. I bet you can. Clear your schedule, darlings. Go by the river. Is it a nice day outside? Pause, go by the river, take a walk, take a 3-mile walk. Clear that head. Get back to nature, ground yourself, get in that space where you can become grateful again for everything around you, because I promise you, when you are in a crazy mental state, oftentimes you're not grounded and you're not thinking gratitude. Get back to a place of gratitude. Be grateful for the small things. You may feel like you're in a space where everything is going wrong and the world is crashing down around you even. That happens in entrepreneur world. I promise you. If you're talking to anybody who says otherwise, I bet you they're lying to you. Everyone's been there. And when you get there, breathe. Pause and breathe and reflect on gratitude. I did a whole year dedicated to gratitude. That was my word of the year, gratefulness. There was a whole journaling thing. I'll link to that also. There was a whole journaling thing I did where you did 5 simple things. Write down 5 simple things in a journal that you are specifically grateful for that day. And they can be small. They can be tiny. You know, I'm so grateful such and such brought me coffee this morning. I'm grateful for that. You know, small, little, tiny things, no matter how tiny they are, they add up and they will fill you up, and you need that. You got to pour into yourself so you can pour into others. All right? And that's seriously for real. Number 4, word of mouth is still the most powerful. And this is coming from a marketer brander, and say what you want, other marketers and branders, but word of mouth, as old school as it is, it's golden for a reason. Golden. It's golden for a reason because it works. And there is nothing better than someone recommending you to someone else, unprompted. You didn't ask them to do it. It's behind closed doors. They're not getting social media credit for doing it. There's no cookies, there's no kudos, there's no gift for it. They are just because they know you're good. They love your work. They love what you do. They recommend you to someone else. Who should I go to for a website? You got to talk to A.D.S. Who should I go to for marketing, branding, my messaging, my identity, my blah, blah, blah? You got to go to A.D.S. What about PR? They don't even know. They just think I do PR. We don't. We work with PR partners for that. However, they still think A.D.S. That is in the realm of the space of what we do. They think of us. There are so many things that people can think of you for, and word of mouth at the end of the day still is king. It just is. There's nothing more powerful than an unsolicited person-to-person testimonial. It is golden, period. So I'm saying that as a marketing brander, it still works. It's awesome. It's powerful. That is never going to change. 10 years from now, if I'm still in this business, it's still never going to change. Word of mouth is still going to be golden. Number 5, and don't forget my very, very awesome bonus tip is next. Number 5 is what success means to you is what matters most. We cannot be constantly comparing ourselves to that entrepreneur we see out in LA, this entrepreneur we always see the ads for, and who looks amazing, and their house always looks amazing, like $1 million, and all of this. Like, we can't constantly compare ourselves to all these people. We have no idea what their life is really like. We have no idea what's staged, what's not, what they're going through, what's real, what isn't. So stop beating yourself up, comparing yourself. Use your competitors as aspiration. That is something you want, but only because it represents something that you want your life to be like. You have to define for yourself what success looks like to you, for you and your business. and what success looks like to you in terms of the kind of life you want to live. And isn't that the point of all of this? We start a business in order to help build the life that we want. True? So if we're not working to that end, what are we doing? You gotta define for yourself what success is. To me, success, one of my definitions of success, one of the factors of success I've created for myself is freedom. I love, and I think so many entrepreneurs will agree with this. I love the freedom of being able to direct your own schedule, build your own world, your own time frames, do relatively what you want from a day-to-day basis. So that's a double-edged sword because you're not working anywhere. There is no one stopping by your desk, asking for things, people constantly pulling you into meetings because you're not in a workspace like that per se. I mean, no one is making you do anything. You control that. And so there's a lot of responsibility with that. I mean, you do have to be disciplined. You have to have a lot of structure for yourself in order to stay organized, in order to keep it all together. Lord knows, if you thought you were organized before you were an entrepreneur, you will get a whole nother level of organization once you do become an entrepreneur. It's just a different world. But at the end of the day, please remember what success looks like for you. It doesn't always have to mean millions and billions to be considered a success. There are plenty of people who have $1 million plus businesses and they struggle to pay bills because just because the top line is millions doesn't mean their bottom line isn't also close to millions, you know. It's the truth. This is the stuff you learn as an entrepreneur as you begin to meet people and all of this. So it is all relative. And this is why I say base success off of how you want to operate, how you want to live this life, how you want to operate, how you want to run. Remember when I told you I don't want to be paying people peanuts to be a part of my business? I just don't. I refuse to do that. It's against my principles. If I never have 5, 10, 20 employees under my belt, it's fine, because to me, that's not successful if you have to pay people not even a living wage to run. I don't like that. So the economics of our world is what it is, but that's part of my values that I don't want to compromise on. So success is what it is for you. What else is successful for me? I'll give you one other thing. Let me think. Oh yes, travel. So it's the ability to travel whenever you like. So my dream goal in my business is to be able to take off a quarter and other people can run the business for me. And then I get to gallivant around Europe and wherever for a whole entire quarter, or at least a month, and then do that 2-3 times a year. That is success to me. I'm still working towards that. But I mean, can I take off now and do a little staycation in the area whenever I want to have a big long weekend, whenever I want? Absolutely. And to me, that's beautiful. That's amazing. Right now it's fall. I mean, have a beautiful change of scenery. You could go check out the fall leaves in the mountains. We love going to the mountains every year and all that good stuff. So, and now finally, I'll get to my bonus, and then I have one other thing to share with you before we get out of here. So my bonus tip is YouTube works for business. And I know if you're listening to this on podcast, I'm not saying podcast doesn't work and all the little social media platforms don't work, but YouTube works for business. And I'll tell you why very quickly. I was just telling somebody this earlier today. She was talking to me about how do you get your business and blah, blah, blah. In addition to word of mouth, one of the most powerful things I found for my business has been YouTube. And I'm not coming from 250,000 subscribers or even 100,000 subscribers. I'm nowhere near that. I'm not even in the 10,000s yet. I'm at 2,000 something subscribers. And those 2,000 have been amazing for me because it's not all just subscribers. It's also views who've seen your videos. They may not have subscribed, but they've seen them and they've seen enough of them to know that they like you, they like your personality, you sound like you know what you're talking about, you seem like you know your stuff. It's enough to know, like, and trust you to pick up that phone and say, hey, talk to me about what you do. By the time they do that, you are already in a golden place, because know, like, and trust are the 3 keys to selling anything. You've never bought anything from a brand you did not know, like, and trust, or from anyone you didn't know, like, and trust. And YouTube is one of those factors that speeds that process up. Other platforms can do it too, but there's nothing like the power of video. They can see your personality, they can hear your voice, they can look in your eyes and kind of get a gist of, is this person a good person? Because nobody wants to work with someone who's not a good person. True, it's true. It's very simple at the end of the day. All right, my dears, those are my 5 tips plus your bonus today about top lessons learned in 5 years of business. Thank you so much for being with me. I will eat this cake later. I'll eat a sliver and I'll give the rest away is what's really going to happen. Kitties, my nieces and nephews in Douglasville, watch out, you're about to get a cake. And otherwise, my last little announcement for the day. So, as I told you, I just got married. I am now Mrs. Johnson. Can you believe that? I hope I can still say that a year from now. I'm sure I can, knock on wood. But I'm so excited, seriously so excited to turn 40 this year and get married, and my business turned 5. It's an awesome year, people. And so, I know this channel is about marketing and branding. It is also for personal branders. And so because my own self is undergoing a personal rebrand with this name change, I will be dedicating the next series of videos to personal rebranding, to wedding tips for entrepreneurs, how to survive through a wedding as an entrepreneur, how to plan, tips, all those things, because that's a unique niche. And I was searching for that stuff while I was planning this wedding all year long, and I couldn't find anything. And therefore, that means I volunteer myself as tribute. All right, so I volunteer myself to give some content out there for the 40-year-old brides in particular, and plus, because we are a growing segment. So I think it's important to talk about, and I can't stand to see a content gap out there in the universe. And so therefore, I found finding this little niche way to fulfill it through my channel. I thought about starting another channel, but I think it's safe to do a little series on this. And if people want more of it, I'll start another channel. We'll do a whole thing about it. But for now, we'll just do a little series. That's gonna be my next round of videos. So guys out there, if weddings and personal branding, name changing and all this is not your thing, don't worry. You know, you won't bother me if you don't happen to watch these next videos. But send it to your wives, your girlfriends, your future fiancés and all that. So, all right, my dears, thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm Andrea with the A.D.S. Agency, as always here to bring you the very best in marketing and branding tips, as well as business tips for those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and personal branders. Thanks so much for being here. If you're listening to this on podcast, please rate and review the podcast. Leave us a comment. I love seeing those. I love seeing those. So please rate and review us. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe below. And also hit that little bell. Once that pops up after you hit subscribe, you'll see a little bell that pops up. You want to hit that because that's the notifications bell. If you don't hit it, you probably will never see me again. So it's important to subscribe and hit that bell. And otherwise, I will see you next time, my dears. Thanks so much and cheers. Oh, and don't forget to follow us. The A.D.S. Agency, that's THEADS, like ads, like advertising. The A.D.S. Agency on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all those places. And now,